Hi. So whilst I collect some of my data so that we can analyse and have a discussion about the results, I thought it's quite important to look at how fitness tracking devices work. There are basically four main ways that these work, and by understanding how the data is generated and how it's potentially inaccurate at times or might be limited, then you can understand your results better. So we'll have a look at that today. When you buy a fitness tracking device, it will obviously only record when you're wearing it. So if it's a phone, you do have to have it on your body, otherwise you are going to have gaps in your data. If it's a wearable device, then you won't have this problem. And most of the common devices have four main ways of recording your data. So if we look at the activity trackers that are available, they nearly always have a 3D accelerometer, and this will measure not only your steps, but how high up you walk upstairs, and also some other aspects like how vigorously you move. That works by having a 3D sensor which can track your movement. The second is photoplethysmography, and this is what you see when you take these watches off. In the back of this, you'll see there's a little green LED, and that shines light through your skin into your blood and capillaries so that it can detect your pulse rate. Every time your heart beats, you get a pulsation and increase in blood flow through your blood vessels. In a gap in between when your heart's relaxing, you have a trough where you don't get as much flow. And by measuring from peak to peak and looking at the troughs, the devices can detect your heart rate and to some extent your oxygen saturations by detecting the amount of oxygen passing by in the blood flow. The next one is GPS tracking. This is really useful and popular for runners or cyclists who want to go further, improve their interval times, or share their routes. This is a nice one for people who want to get a sense of community. Things like Strava are great because you can be competitive. So if you're choosing a device and you want to do that kind of activity, then you are going to need one with a GPS function, which they don't all necessarily have. You also need to make sure it's activated, otherwise you won't record anything when you're out for your run. The last one, and the one that I'm interested in particularly as a cardiologist, is ECG recording. So certain devices will have the function to record an ECG. To do this, you need to make an electrical circuit between your heart and your hands, and you need to put your fingers normally on both sides of the watch. By doing this, you connect an electrical circuit that can be recorded, and in fact, it's very similar often to lead 1 on the standard ECG that we use as cardiologists. In fact, Apple have done some validation studies, and their ECG traces are quite reliable. Patients bring me these, and generally they are quite good, clear traces that we can interpret. However, we often corroborate this by doing formal cardiac monitoring in the cardiology department. In general, the ECG recording that you'll get will show regular rhythm, irregular rhythm, and it may go as far as potentially diagnosing atrial fibrillation. The data for this are ongoing, and there are ongoing clinical studies looking at this with Apple in particular, but actually it may well be that it's a good way to record atrial fibrillation in future. So these are the main ways that your fitness tracker works. When you're choosing your device, it's good to have an idea of what you want to achieve. Is it getting more active and doing steps? Is it cycling further or faster, or getting your interval times down, in which case you might want GPS? Or is it that you feel unwell and you're getting palpitations and you want to detect irregular rhythm and heartbeats? Hope that's helpful. Hopefully soon I'll have some data we can look at.